The conversation in royal corners of the internet has been all about Endgame. I haven't weighed in yet, and I may regret weighing in at all, but here are my thoughts. I completely understand why this book is polarizing. Some people are choosing not to read it because the argument can be made that this is just another royal reporter citing unnamed sources to tell stories about the royal family and making money off of it. And they aren't wrong. Global interest in the royal family, mainly thanks to Harry and Meghan, has never been higher, and Omid Scobie picked a great time to capitalize on that. But I am reading it. I have said from the beginning that I created my account to support Harry and Meghan, but unfortunately, supporting them often means defending them and calling out the disinformation. And that is difficult to do if we are not informed. For example, when I read the news about any topic, I read news from multiple sources, some that I completely disagree with, in order to see what is being said from all sides so that I can form my own opinion based on the given information. I am approaching this book in a similar way. The hate against Harry and Meghan is coordinated, and it's coming from powerful institutions and individuals who are not backing down anytime soon. To many of them, their paychecks, their livelihood, the future of the monarchy, and their source of power depend on continuing to make Harry and Meghan the villains. And I feel a similar way about discussing tabloid articles. None of us want to read the tabloids. But I think it was Caitlin the Awesome who said in one of her videos on here that the idea if we just don't read it, it will go away, is an individual solution to a systemic problem. And this is systemic. Systemic hatred, racism, misogyny, bigotry, really all directed at one person, Meghan. Systems abusing power do not change by people ignoring them. They are changed by people pushing back. I've mentioned before that this is probably the first time in history, because of the speed at which information travels and social media, that collective groups of people are pushing back against the disinformation and the hypocrisy of the institution and the UK media. And it is having an effect. Just look at how many times the Sussex Squad has been mentioned in the UK media the past few days. They absolutely know that Harry and Meghan have a massive global online support system, and they aren't quite sure how to handle it. Because as we know, the only thing more threatening to the firm than Harry and Meghan being loved and successful is Harry and Meghan being loved and successful outside of the control of the firm. It also cannot be ignored how much both the firm and the Royal Rota are stressing about this book. The denials and deflections have already started, and the book isn't even out yet. And in what can only be called large-scale gaslighting, there is an almost word-for-word similar headline in each of the major tabloids today from William's team briefing the press that William would never brief the press. To no one's surprise, Meghan has been cast as the villain, with story after story trying to connect her to Omid in any way possible. Leaked excerpts from the book have also reignited the debate over who made the comments about Archie's skin color, with tabloid articles insisting that Omid's claims are wrong. There were not 2 royal family members expressing concern, only 1. Which is interesting how suddenly recollections don't vary, and Meghan was telling the truth all along. According to this article from The Express, in his letter, Charles told Meghan to share her feelings about the comments made about Archie's skin color with William and Kate. It's unclear if Meghan did reach out to William and Kate, but this article says William and Kate have not reached out to Meghan. But my question is, why would Charles tell Meghan that she should specifically reach out to William and Kate regarding the comments, unless they are the ones who made them? According to leaks, Omid says in his book that Kate has been infantilized by both the royal family and the firm. But I think you could argue that the entire family is infantilized. We've seen this with the poor lonely grandpa narrative given to Charles, who seems unable to figure out how phones work or how to travel to see his own family. But now there are calls for Harry to speak up and defend them all, as if they are incapable of speaking up and defending themselves, and Harry must be the only one who could step up and save them. And the irony of this is, if the family and media hadn't spent years briefing against and attacking Harry's wife, he probably would be the one brave enough to speak up in a situation like this. It looks like now it's Charles and William's turn to see how it feels to ask for help and be ignored. And these reactions, or overreactions, to the release of Endgame are similar to what we saw prior to the Oprah interview, the release of Spare, and the documentary. They, the firm and the media, are reacting out of fear. And it really makes you think about who truly controls the monarchy. It is also clear that this book will be used to reignite the hatred against Harry and Meghan. The institution and the UK media will find any excuse to attack them while simultaneously using their names to make money. But beyond the inciting headlines, what is more concerning is the security concern that they create. The constant drip feed of headlines villainizing Harry and Meghan, and particularly Meghan, are not just wrong, they're dangerous. Piers Morgan's article today in The Sun for many brought back memories of the disgusting Jeremy Clarkson article as yet another well-known man in the UK media, who Omid Scobie testified against, I will remind you, is unable to control his emotions. Piers wrote what amounts to fantasies of Harry and Meghan being burned over a fire and Harry being bumped off by his family. And you could make the argument that Piers would never actually do those things, but the problem is that someone else might. Again, I absolutely understand both sides of the argument when it comes to reading this book, and I am in no way trying to influence anyone's decision. Everyone has to do what feels right for them. For me, this is another way to make sure that I am informed of what's being said, so when disinformation is passed about Harry and Meghan, I can speak on it from a place of knowledge. So if, like me, you are reading the book, I look forward to hearing your thoughts and discussing it with you. And if you aren't, well, there's no doubt that this family will give us plenty more to talk about.